The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leisure Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
G'day, it's Gus Walland here from Gotcha for Life and Triple M. I'd love to invite you along to the Mental Fitness Gym. Go to the mentalfitnessgym.org. That is a place where you can pick up some exercises to build your mental fitness, to work on that emotional muscle, those muscles in your head that are so powerful. Please come and join us at the mentalfitnessgym.org for all that stuff to build your emotional muscle and your mental fitness.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, along with my special helper, my special guest tipper. Well, not very special. Well, very special. Very special to me, but not a special surprise guest anymore because you have been on the last few weeks now.
Like 4 weeks.
Yes, Ella, how are you going this week?
Good.
Now, I will just say, though, a little bit of a slump in form there. 4 out of 8 last week, but...
That's not so good.
No, but your team, the Panthers, did lose last week to the Raiders, and you did go for the major upset with the Dolphins beating the Storm, but that didn't happen either.
Did that happen?
No, that did not happen, unfortunately. And a few other games went different ways as well.
I see another Panthers game on there.
Yes, so let's see what we can come up with this week. And it is round 26 in the NRL. Only 2 weeks to go.
That's a lot of rounds.
Well, only 2 to go. It's been a long season. And look, these games, some of these games that are coming up this weekend, like the Bulldogs and Sea Eagles, Cowboys and Storm, Eels and Dragons, Dolphins and Broncos, and you'd have to say probably the Knights and Titans, and the Roosters and Raiders as well. Very crucial as to see who will make the top 4 and the top 8 with 2 weeks to go. The Tigers, they have the bye this weekend, so they will jump Parramatta into 16th spot. And of course we have Spoon Bowl in round 27. But these teams that are still in contention include the Dragons, who are on 28 points and in 8th spot on the ladder at the moment. We have the Dolphins and Broncos, Knights and Raiders on 26. So obviously the loser of the Broncos and Dolphins game, they will be done for the season. The Knights will have to win, the Raiders will have to win, and the Dragons, they will have to win as well to keep them at bay. If they can win this weekend, they may very well secure that top 8 spot. They will still probably have to win, I guess, 2 games in a row, but they will do their chances no harm of making that top 8. All right, let's kick into it. Thursday night, we have the Cowboys up against the Storm. Now, this is probably one of the most talked about games because the Melbourne Storm, they wrapped up the minor premiership last weekend, so they are resting players such as Eli Katoa, Harry Grant, Jack Howarth, Jerome Hughes, Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Sean Bloor, Tui Kamakamita, and Will Warbrick. Now, there's been a lot of debate about the Melbourne Storm resting players. Should they or shouldn't they? Look, in my opinion, they have done enough to earn that right to, if they want to rest players and not travel up to Townsville, then why not? I mean, there's a bit of a fan outrage because, Queensland North Queensland Cowboys fans, they don't get to see the Melbourne Storm players play all that much live, so they travel 6 hours, so the fans are saying that the Storm should field a strength team, their full strength team, but they are just wanting to rest their players as they have earned that right. The Cowboys, now for them, some big news for them. Jason Taumalolo is back in that prop position, and also Jeremiah Nanai is back as well. So, look, they have a pretty much full strength side there. They are coming off the bye, I think last week, and they are coming off the bye last week, a very timely bye, their last one of the season. Look, this is the first time that these two sides have played, and if we go to the ladder, the Cowboys are on 32 points, the Panthers are on 36. So, look, even if they don't get into that top four, if they finish 5th or 6th, they will get a home final. Look, I think it's going to be it will still be a good game. I mean, I think the Melbourne Storm do have some quality players in their side. Cameron Munster, Ryan Pappenhausen, who captains the side this weekend. Tyron Wishart, we've seen him play everywhere this year. This time he's at hooker. Christian Welsh is in the prop position, very experienced player there. So it isn't the side that you would think it is, but who are you going to go for, Ella, in this one?
I'm going to go for the Cowboys, actually, this time.
Yes, okay, good choice there. I think the Cowboys, they go into the game as favourites. I will go for them as well.
So we agree.
Yes, we do on that one. Let's see how many we agree by. The next game is going to be a cracker as well. It's on Friday night, 6 p.m. at Accor Stadium. It is the Bulldogs taking on the Sea Eagles, 5th versus 7th. So, look, they are expecting over 40,000 at this game, so that will be massive for rugby league and for the Bulldogs as well. They are flying. The unfortunate news for them, well, probably they already knew that this was going to happen, was that Stephen Crichton has been suspended for 1 week for his hit on Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So Jacob Kiraz comes into the centre position for him, and Jarrell Skelton, who has signed with the West Tigers, he jumps onto the wing. Kurt Mann, unfortunately, has broken his collarbone as well, so some bad news for the Bulldogs there. Which, an experienced player, unfortunately, out injured. So Josh Curran comes onto the interchange bench there. For the Manly Sea Eagles, Corey Waddell is out suspended. So, other than that, a pretty experienced squad, and one that they would like to see make a charge for potentially a home final. Matt Lodge comes onto the interchange bench for Corey Waddell. Look, the Bulldogs last week, they had a win against the Warriors, 34 points to 18, 5 in a row. At this point, they're going for 6 in a row. The Sea Eagles, they could have wrapped up a top 8 spot, but they lost to the Tigers 34-26 last week. They are 3 from their last 5. They haven't played this year yet. This is their first occasion meeting. Ella, who are you going for in this one?
I'm actually going to go for the Sea Eagles.
The Sea Eagles, okay. That's an interesting choice. Look, this could go either way, this game.
Yeah, it could.
Bit of a toss of the coin. The Bulldogs, they seem to have been the form team at the moment. How much of a loss is Stephen Crichton, their inspirational captain? Who knows? But I think...
Oh, I see Panthers again.
Yes, they're up next. So, but look, I'm gonna stick with the Bulldogs on that one.
Oh,
I'm gonna stick with the Bulldogs. I think they are. Look,
interesting.
Yeah, so they do have lost Stephen Crichton, but I think they can fill that void pretty well, and they'll get that home ground support. As I said before, over 40,000 expected there. So I'm going the Bulldogs. And the next game, the Panthers take on the Rabbitohs at Bluebet Stadium, 8 p.m. Friday night. The Panthers, they've dropped down to 4th position now with that loss against the Raiders, and the Roosters and Sharks winning across the weekend. The Rabbitohs, they sit in 15th position, and unfortunately they have not had the season that they would have liked. The Panthers, they are just trying to get to the first week of the finals. They are prepping themselves for some semi-final action this weekend. And Mitch Kenny is back for them, so a good in for them. Along with Paul Alamotti as well into the centre position, so a good in for them as well. Look, the Rabbitohs, Cody Walker is back at halfback. Jack Whiten is his halves partner. Not too many changes there. Cam Murray has been named as captain despite that shoulder charge, I guess you could say it was, last weekend against Newcastle. I think he copped a fine for that one, I think. But look, I don't think I should ask you who's going to win this one.
Well, yeah, you probably know, and I'm very sorry to the Rabbitohs fans who listen to the podcast, but I'm going for the Panthers once again, as I always do.
Yes, well, look, I think the Panthers will get the win as well, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Yes, so we agree on that one. I think the Panthers will get the win. As I said, they're priming themselves for that semi-final action in a few weeks' time. They will have some special guests at Bluebet Stadium on Friday night. I do believe Naomi Fox and Jess Fox, the gold medal Olympians for Australia, will be there in attendance. They visited Panthers training during the week to a rousing reception, and I guess they will be a special guest there. So yes, we are both going the Panthers on that one.
Well, we finally agree.
Yes, just on one. And look, it's going to be a crucial...
Because, I remember, I think last week or something, you went for the Eels and I went for the Panthers, so... We're finally agreeing.
Yes. Well, there are some games that we will agree on, that is for sure.
And some that we'll disagree on.
Yes, absolutely. But look, the Panthers, if they get that win, they'll come up to 38 points and just hold those Bulldogs at bay. If the Bulldogs do indeed win, who will go to 36 points if they do win on the weekend against the Sea Eagles. The Panthers, they'll go to 38, so they'll just keep the Bulldogs at bay for another week and stay in that top 4. The next game on Super Saturday is the Eels versus Dragons. Now, look...
I think I already know who you're going to go for.
Yeah, look, the Dragons, they had a golden opportunity last weekend to win the game against the Sharks down at Wynn Stadium. Unfortunately, that did not happen. A very crucial game for the Dragons, as they are in 8th spot on 28 points, and they are trying to hold the Broncos, Dolphins, Knights and Raiders at bay to secure a semi-final berth, which will be an absolute gem of a job from Coach Shane Flanagan if they can make the top 8, what he has done this year. Behind the Bulldogs, probably the second most improved side, that is for sure. Raymond Fatala Mariner, he comes back into the side on the interchange bench. Luke Moretti onto the interchange bench for Parramatta. Other than that, no real changes to either side. Zach Lomax, the Dragons winger, playing against his new team in 2025, the Parramatta Eels, which will be interesting. His mind will be on the job for the Dragons to get that win. That is for sure. Look, it's the last home game for Parramatta this year at CommBank Stadium, so they will want to get a win for their home fans. It's been a bludger of a season for Parramatta fans, and look, a 3 p.m. game. Hopefully the sun is shining. We see some points scored in that one. I don't think I need to ask you who you're going for in this one, Ella.
Yeah, I'm obviously going for the Dragons because I've never chose the Eels.
No, I know that.
I've never chose them while doing the tipping podcast.
I know. I know that. Look, I'm going to tip Parramatta.
I knew you would.
And sorry, Flano, if you are listening, unfortunately, I am going to go Parramatta. I just think that at home, look, last week they got up to 16-0 and unfortunately blew that lead. This is the first time that they've played this season. Last year in the corresponding game, it was 26-20 to Parramatta. So only a small victory there. The Dragons, they're on their win record, I guess you could say, for this week, as they lost last week, won the week before, lost. So they're on their winning streak this weekend. For Parramatta, they've lost the last 3. So they just want to play for pride, get a win, and then set up a spoon bowl game against the Tigers. So yes, I am tipping Parramatta in
like
that
I
one.
knew you would.
Yes, you certainly did. The middle game on Super Saturday is the Dolphins and Broncos. And look, this is the battle for Brisbane. And look, this is going to be a do-or-die game for both teams, as this will end the season potentially, or it will end the season of one of these sides. Payne Haas has been named on the extended bench for Brisbane, so interesting to see that one. For the Dolphins, they have Jesse Bromwich out, Josh Kerr and Cody Nikarima as well, which is unfortunate for them. But big ins for them include... just lost my way there. Anthony Milford on the extended bench. Jeremy Marshall-King as well on the extended bench as well. So some big names there for the Dolphins. But I think, look, this is two rivals playing for the battle for Brisbane. So I think this is going to be interesting. Both teams playing for their season. Look, the Broncos were good last week against Parramatta. The Dolphins, they were pretty poor against the Storm last week as well. But as I said, this rivalry game could determine anything happening in this one. Ella, who are you going to go for in this one?
I don't actually know who I'm going to go for.
Okay, well, they have played previously this season. 28-14, the Broncos won on that occasion. Both of these teams play out of this ground, so no real home ground advantage.
Well, I've thought a little bit now.
Okay.
I'm going to go for the Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Okay, so the Dolphins season stays on track if they can get the win, and you're tipping that win there. Look, I think the Broncos will get the win on that one, unfortunately.
I just noticed their 10th and 9th.
Yes, so they are still in contention for the top 8, as they are both on 26 points, trailing the Dragons by 2. But as I said before, the loser of this game, their season is over. So I'm going to go the Broncos. You're going to go the Dolphins.
Another one we got different.
Yes, you're sticking strong with the Dolphins as you did last week. So
I never knew that I was sticking with the Dolphins for this.
Well, you tipped the Dolphins last week against the Storm. So
oh yeah, I did.
Yes. The next game, which is Saturday, 7:35 p.m, sees the Sharks play the Warriors, and at PointsBet Stadium in Sydney, 7:35 p.m. This is the last Warriors game for the season, as they have the bye in round 27. So they will want to go out with a season that they thought would not happen on a bang. as they're only on 21 points in 14th position, so they'll want to go out with a win. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is out due to concussion protocols. Tane Tuapiki comes into that fullback position. Sean Johnson is playing his last game ever as he has announced his retirement and playing against his old club, the Cronulla Sharks. So that'll be interesting there. There was a massive farewell last week in New Zealand for the Sharks. Some interesting ones there. Nico Hines has been named on an extended bench. Could you potentially give him another week off just to strengthen up, get ready for those finals, give him one last hit out before the finals? Probably. Daniel Atkinson and Braden Trindle have been doing some great things at 5'8" and halfback there whilst he has been out. I personally would leave him out for another week, but that's not me. I'm not the coach. Jesse Raymond is out. Sifa Talakai goes into the centre position as well there. And look, it's a pretty strong side for the Sharkies at home. Who are you going for in this one, Ella?
I'm actually going to go for the Warriors, even though they're 14th.
Okay, another upset there, I think it will be.
Okay.
But I will go the Sharks on this one.
Okay, another disagreement?
Yeah, well, yes. Another difference of opinion. I think the Sharks will want to consolidate their position in that top four. So I think they will want to get the win. But it will be an emotional game whichever way for Sean Johnson, his last ever game in the NRL, so that'll be an interesting one to watch, but I think the Sharks will get the win in that one. The first game on Sunday sees the Knights, who are still in contention as well for semi-finals. They sit in 11th spot on 26 points. They need to win both their games and results go their way to make the finals. They played the 13th place Titans, who got beat by the Roosters last week up on the Gold Coast. This one at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. I think it's the mining round. So I think they'll be in their mining jumpers, I think. Kai Pearce-Paul is out. Tyson Frizzell is out. Bradman Best is back in that centre position, which is a great thing for Newcastle. They have certainly missed him, but he has had a great season, obviously represented New South Wales. David Armstrong comes on the extended bench, as is Jackson Hastings. For the Gold Coast Titans, only the one change. AJ Brimson is out, unfortunately injured again. That is no good for AJ. Wish him best in his recovery. Look, this game is so important for Newcastle. As I said before, they just need to win both of their games and results go their way, and they could make the top 8. So it's at Newcastle. Newcastle's home ground, Ella. Who are you going to go for in this one?
I don't know. I'm going to go for the Titans, actually.
The Titans, you're going for another upset there?
Another?
Sorry, Newcastle fans. Look, I'm going to go Newcastle. I think they'll get the win there.
Another disagreement.
Kalen Ponga has been playing some great footy, so I think Kalen will get that team around the park and they will get the win. The last game of the weekend sees the Roosters play the Raiders at Allianz Stadium, 4:05 p.m. The Roosters welcome back Brandon Smith and Connor Watson, so great news for them in a pretty strong squad. Unfortunately, Jared Waerea-Hargreaves is suspended again, unfortunately. Look, for the Raiders, they had a massive win against the Panthers last weekend at their home ground, so they will be bursting with confidence. The last time these two teams played was earlier on this year. The Roosters got the win 44 points to 16 down in Canberra, and I think, look, the way the Roosters are playing at the moment, they are pretty confident. They are warming for the semi-finals as well. They sit now in second position, so they'll want a home final as well. Joe Suali'i is out as well, aggravating that neck injury. So Michael Jennings comes into his centre position. Plenty of experience there. Ella, who you got in this one?
I don't know again. It's hard.
It is very hard because you just don't know what's going to happen. So the Roosters have been playing better footy.
Okay.
The Raiders had a big win, so they're pretty confident going into this one. They can potentially still make the 8 if they win both games and results go their way. So
I'm pretty sure this might be another upset, but I'm going for the Raiders.
you're going for the Raiders.
Yep.
Sorry, Mr. Gus Warland, if you're listening to the podcast.
Is it another upset?
It is. It will be. I'm going to go the Roosters in that one.
Another disagreement.
Yes, so it's going to be interesting to see how many each of us get this week. So
I hope I get more than you.
well, you very well may. You never know what's going to happen in the great game of rugby league. So
Well, yeah, you never know.
just recapping
tips.
Ella's tips for round 26. You've gone the Cowboys, the Sea Eagles, the Panthers, Dragons, Dolphins, Warriors, Titans, and Raiders.
Okay. And what were your tips?
I have gone the Cowboys, Bulldogs, Panthers, Eels, Broncos, Sharks, Newcastle, and Canberra. So I think about 5 different there. So
5 different? Out of
that's
how many?
8. So 5 out of 8 difference there. So this will be very interesting to see how you go and how I go. And of course, this week the West Tigers have the bye. So
That's a bit interesting.
this, they get their 2 points and set themselves on winning Spoon Bowl next weekend against the Eels. So thank you very much for joining me once again, Ella. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I hope
And I love being on the podcast, actually.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure the listeners love listening to your tips and having you on the podcast. So getting some pretty good feedback there as well. So
Well, that's good that you're
Yes.
getting good feedback on your podcast.
yes, about yourself being on. So
Ooh, about me?
we've got this week to go. Look, we'll
And
still
another 2 weeks? is it?
we've got this week and next week of 8
Okay.
games, and then we'll still tip the semi-finals as well. That'll be interesting as well. So
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting, actually.
it is. So this week and next week's games will be interesting to see who makes that top 4 and that top 8. So
Yeah,
thank you.
that's going to be good.
It will be. So thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your rugby league over the weekend. I will be at the Eels Dragons game at Combank Stadium. So if you see me out and about, come and say good day. Would love to meet some listeners at the game. So thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your footy and go Para.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.